This has to be one of the best paper airplanes that I have ever designed. You can see it looks absolutely amazing, but it is also really easy to fold. If you're watching this video, you are capable of folding this paper airplane. Now, it is also extremely aerodynamic. I mean, look at that. It locks together in this three-dimensional shape, and that means it can fly over 100 feet. 2, 1, go! All you will need in order to fold this paper airplane is a sheet of 8.5 by 11 inch paper or A4 paper and a pair of scissors. You may also want a ruler and a pin, but those are optional, and you'll see why in just a second. Now we're going to begin by folding this edge here to this edge over here. And then we'll open the paper up. And now we want to convert our rectangle paper into a square. For 8.5 by 11, that means you're folding 2.5 inches down from the top edge. For A4, that means you're folding 8.7 centimeters, but you can also just estimate. Just say, hey, does this look like a square to me? And if the answer is yes, you're doing great. It doesn't have to be exact. Now, once we've done that, we'll flip the paper over and fold this outer edge now to the center crease. Just like that, and do the same thing on the other side. And now we'll open it up, and I'm going to fold this outer edge to my left crease here, not to the center crease, to that crease that's all the way on the left. And I'll open that up, and now this time I'm folding the left edge all the way to the rightmost crease. Just like that. And then I'll open it up, and we have all the creases we need now. So now in the next step, I'm looking at this crease that's not the center crease, it's just right of the center crease, and that's where I'll start my crease, right at that point where that intersects the top edge, and then I'll explain to you in just a second how I determine the angle I'm creasing it at. So it's going to look something like this, and basically I'm landing this corner halfway between this crease and this crease. And that's an estimation, doesn't have to be exact. And once you do one side, just fold it in half and fold this now to land right along that edge you made on your previous step. And that'll make sure that your two sides are identical. Okay, so we can open this up, take a look at it here, and we're going to position it in this orientation. And now we're folding this top edge down. And to determine how far it goes, let me go ahead and make the crease, and I'll explain exactly how I determined where I placed this crease. You can see these vertical creases here. I want those vertical creases and where they intersect this edge to meet the bottom edge of the paper on both sides. That's how you know how far to fold it. And now we're going to fold it back up, landing this point here on that corner. And you're doing that on both sides. So making sure both corners are in alignment and then creasing across just like that. Okay, so we'll open the paper back into this orientation and now fold this edge in to that crease there and leave just a tiny little gap. Also, you don't have to crease all the way down the page. You just crease till you get to this first little crease on the paper there. So when I open this up, you can see that's where I stopped my crease. And we'll do that same thing on the other side as well. You can, of course, continue the crease if that's easier for you, but it's not necessary. Okay, so now your paper should look like this. We'll fold right along this bottom edge, or bottom crease, fold up on this crease, and now we're going to fold in using that crease we already have, and you'll notice it does not lie flat. So we're going to need to reach into this pocket here and pull. So I'm just pinching this edge here and pulling it right to that point. Can you see how that gets snug right there? And then I flatten to this corner down here. So I'm just kind of fanning the paper out and gently creasing right to that corner, and then I can put a nice firm crease there. And I've got all this slack, which I just sweep to the outside of the plane to make my other crease. Now I'll go ahead and do the same things on this side, close that up using the existing crease, pull on this pocket until it catches there, flatten to this corner down here, and then take all that slack and sweep it to the outside. And your plane should look like this. Now we'll rotate it into this position and fold from where this edge here intersects that edge, so that point right there to this corner. Same thing on this side. And now we need to reverse those creases and tuck these tabs into this pocket behind. So I'm not making a new crease, I'm literally just bending that crease in the other direction. Just like that. And I'll do the same thing on this side. Again, just bending that same existing crease in the opposite direction, tucking those layers behind everything else. And now your plane should look like this. Now we'll go ahead and fold it in half where these layers stay on the outside. And I'll position it like this and fold this front edge here to land right along this left edge. Now I do leave just the tiniest little gap between this edge and that one. Crease like that. And then tuck this little tab behind those other layers. Now we're going to fold right along this existing crease, like that. Then just flip your plane over, fold this wing up. And now we're actually going to place our wing crease. This goes from the nose of the plane to where this crease here intersects the back edge. And you'll notice that's actually the same point where this spine intersects the back edge, so we'll be able to use that as a guide. Start by really rounding these thick layers at the front, and then gently put it in alignment like that, and you can see my crease goes from this point here to this point right where that's intersecting the back edge. And then I flip it over and fold this wing to match the first wing. Okay, now I'm going to open the wings up all the way back into this position. And I'm looking at this crease here that is currently horizontal. And I'm folding this short little back edge almost all the way to that, but leaving just a tiny little gap. And then I'll fold this edge right over that edge. And then tuck this layer into the center. And to do the same with this tab, I'll have to reverse this crease like we did in that earlier step, and I'm tucking it into that center section of the plane. Just like that, and you can see that locks the whole thing together. Okay, so now all we have left to do is cut the fins. So we're going to position the wings like this, make sure that your corners are lined up, and grab your scissors. Now we're starting about 1/2 inch or a centimeter from this edge here and cutting at the same angle as this wing. If you're using the template, this is marked out for you. Cut in a little more than 1 inch like this, and then start just ahead of that point and cut back toward it to cut triangles out just like that. And now all we have to do, position the wings like this and fold your fins up so that the crease is parallel to that one there. Once you do one side, flip it over and fold the other side to match. And congratulations, you now have a finished paper airplane. All we have to do is set the wing angle, make it really nice and flat across the wings, and then stand each of these fins up directly vertically, something like that. You can fiddle with it as much as you want. Now, if you find that your plane is wanting to nosedive at all, you can bend the back edges up just a little bit. That's called giving a plane up elevator and should help it fly really nice and level for you. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and good luck flying your plane.